Ayanokouji is an ugly, lonely, miserable boy whose life was as boring as a 60-year-old man's until he takes up admission to a new school and ends up rizzing all girls there with his hidden powers. But before that, Ayanokouji takes the bus to school for his first day at Tokyo Metropolitan Advanced Nurturing School in Japan. On the way, he notices a nice girl helping an old lady find a seat. Even though some passengers said no, the girl didn't give up, and eventually the woman got a seat. When Ayanokouji gets off the bus and heads to the high school office, he sees the girl on the staircase who was sitting beside him in the bus a few minutes ago. She asks him why he was staring at her throughout the bus. Ayanokouji tries to explain that there was nothing like that and just moves on to find his class. Tokyo Metropolitan Advanced Nurturing School is a top-notch school in Japan, promising all students good job placements. During the orientation, the principal explains the school rules and Ayanokouji learns that the girl from the bus is in his class. Worse, they end up sitting next to each other. After the orientation, students in D1 division wait for their teachers. The class representative suggests everyone introduce themselves. While others share interesting things, Ayanokouji worries about being too boring. Still, he decides to be honest and tells his simple life story. Surprisingly, everyone claps for him. But then teacher Chabashira comes into the room, handing out rule books to the students. Discussing the rules, Chabashira explained that all students must strictly stay within the high school premises and can't go outside without permission. The school provides all the facilities they need from Sydney to Park. She clarified that resources like cinemas and shopping malls could be accessed using a currency provided by the school. Each student would receive 100,000 currency units to spend on these facilities. After the class, Ayanokouji went to the shopping mall using the provided currency. There, he ran into the girl from the bus, and they started a friendly conversation. Ayanokouji learned her name was Suzune. While they were chatting, he noticed Suzune buying inexpensive items despite having enough money. Trying to be friendly, Ayanokouji struck up a conversation, but Suzune excused herself, mentioning she doesn't like making friends. As Ayanokouji wandered, he heard a commotion outside the mall. A student with anger issues was arguing with some boys from their class. Ayanokouji intervened, attempting to stop the fight. Later in class, Ayanokouji realized that groups had already formed and he acknowledged his struggle in making friends. Afterward, when Ayanokouji walked into the corridor, he bumped into Kikyu, the girl who assisted the elderly woman on the bus. Kikyu asked Ayanokouji to be friends and also requested him to pass along a message to Suzune. She wanted Ayanokouji to convince Suzune to be friends with her, and Ayanokouji agreed to help. The lectures continued, and in the evening, Ms. Chabashira concluded her last lecture. Following the class, Ayanokouji invited Suzune for coffee at the cafe, and she accepted. While enjoying coffee, Kikyu unexpectedly joined them. Ayanokouji had orchestrated the coffee meetup so Kikyu could get closer to Suzune. However, Suzune, sensing something amiss, distanced herself and attempted to leave. Kikyu stopped her, explaining her desire to be friends, but Suzune wasn't interested and left. Later, when Ayanokouji and Kikyu chatted, he discovered that Kikyu had many mutual friends in the high school. They checked social media and found out that their classmates had spent a lot of money on expensive items, while Ayanokouji had saved money. The next day, marking the beginning of a new month, students were excited about their new currency allocation. However, their joy was short-lived when Ms. Chabashira entered the class and delivered disappointing news. She revealed that there would be no currency units for that month. The announcement left everyone in shock. Ms. Chabashira disclosed that the decision about currency refill rested with the class teacher. Due to the students' poor attention in class, she decided to cancel the refill. Upon hearing this, some students expressed disappointment, while others took a more drastic approach, jumping into the swimming pool. Ayanokouji, however, chose to sit by the pool. Observing the girls playing in the water, Suzune joined Ayanokouji, and they both gazed at the ripples. Curious, Suzune inquired about Ayanokouji's view of their class's rank. It turned out that students in their class were assigned ranks based on their attitude and personality. Due to the class's lackadaisical attitude, everyone receives 0 currency. To prove their worth, students had to undertake activities to earn ranks and currency in high school. In the midst of their conversation, Suzune noticed Ayanokouji's hands and asked if he was involved in any sports. Ayanokouji replied in the negative. Suddenly, Kikyu emerged from the swimming pool and invited Suzune to join her. However, Suzune declined once again, choosing to leave the place. From a distance, Suzune observed as the class representative gathered everyone and announced that they needed to collaborate to earn points again. Meanwhile, the principal of the student council congratulated the students for scoring the highest, securing 940 points after the swimming activities. Dressed in their uniforms, the students were back in the classroom. During lunch, Suzune asked Ayanokouji for his help to execute her plan. She treated him to an expensive meal from the canteen and shared her idea of creating a study group. Suzune wanted all the students struggling with their studies to join and earn points in the coming month. Initially reluctant, Ayanokouji eventually agreed, realizing he had no other choice. Suzune handed him an envelope displaying her contacts and left. Ayanokouji attempted to convince other students to join the study group, but they all declined. In the evening, he called Kikyu, seeking her help to find underprivileged students interested in joining. Kikyu agreed, and in no time she managed to gather 3 students for the community. Witnessing the situation, Ayanokouji called Suzune and requested her to teach the underprivileged students as Kikyu had successfully found them. Suzune agreed, and the next day, Ayanokouji, Kikyu, and Suzune conducted interviews for the 3 underprivileged students. However, an argument erupted between Suzune and the students, causing the interviews to be abandoned. Suzune admitted that she regrets taking help from Ayanokouji and Kikyu. Kikyu assured Suzune that she would try to resolve the issue and left the library, ignoring Suzune. Ayanokouji, observing the situation, later left for his hostel to grab a drink. To his surprise, he spotted Suzune with the principal of the student council, who happened to be her elder brother. Discovering her true identity, he was angered by Suzune's deception and was about to confront her aggressively. However, Ayanokouji intervened, preventing any physical altercation. As the situation unfolded, Rahul attempted to strike and punch Ayanokouji. However, Ayanokouji's impressive defense allowed him to skillfully dodge each of Rahul's attacks. Intrigued by Ayanokouji's capabilities, Rahul couldn't help but inquire about his background, expressing curiosity regarding Ayanokouji's exceptional skills and his unexpected presence in Section D. In response, Ayanokouji revealed that he intentionally scored 50 marks in all the entrance exams to deliberately land in Section D. Later, Rahul eventually left the scene. Following this encounter, Ayanokouji and Suzune spent some quality time together, grabbing beverages. During their conversation, Suzune tried to broach the topic of Ayanokouji intentionally choosing Section D, but he deftly steered the discussion in another direction, dismissing it as a mere coincidence. The next day had brought the much-anticipated results for all students, and many boys were overjoyed with their good marks. Grateful for her assistance in their studies, they thanked Kikyu for her support. While navigating through the day, Ayanokouji stumbled upon Suno engaged in a confrontation with the same 3 individuals from earlier. Tensions rose, and the group seemed poised to harm Sudo. However, Kikyu intervened at just the right moment, successfully defusing the situation. The aggressors reluctantly left Sudo alone, and a potentially dangerous encounter was averted. Ayanokouji approached Sudo, suggesting that joining the study community could significantly benefit him. However, Sudo disagreed and refused, heading for his skateboard training after basketball practice. Suzune intercepted him and handed him a summary of the day's notes, emphasizing that if he wanted to continue playing basketball, he needed to join their study group. Faced with the proposition, Sudo reluctantly agreed. The following day, Ayanokouji and Kikyu collaborated to approach a senior student, striking a deal to exchange past papers for 15 currency points. Kikyu harbored doubts about the morality of the situation, but Ayanokouji reassured her that they were not violating any school rules. The day before the exam, Kikyu distributed the past papers to everyone, advising them to prepare thoroughly. The students were content with this unexpected assistance. When the results were eventually released, it brought a wave of relief as everyone had passed except one person, Sudo. Unfortunately, due to his failure, Suno faced the threat of expulsion from the college. The news of Sudo's potential expulsion shocked everyone, and they collectively tried to reverse the decision. Many students expressed their support for Sudo, offering their vote for his redemption. However, the teachers firmly stated that such actions couldn't be taken. Ayanokouji, undeterred, approached the teacher to discuss a solution. He proposed to pay the required currency points to allow Sudo to stay. To his surprise, Chabashira demanded a substantial amount, $100,000 currency, an amount Ayanokouji couldn't afford. Suzune intervened, offering to contribute half of the amount. Reluctantly, Chabashira agreed, realizing she had little choice but to let Sudo remain in the college by giving him some extra marks. Afterwards, Ayanokouji thanks Suzune for her help, but she claimed it was for her benefit. Seeing through her deception, Ayanokouji asked Suzune about her deliberately scoring less than the test to spare her classmates' feelings. This revelation angered Suzune, and she seemed poised to punish Ayanokouji. Later that night, Sudo celebrated his continued presence in the school, and after the party, Ayanokouji and Kikyu teamed up to clean up the entire space together. Following the events, Kikyu was leaving when Ayanokouji casually asked if he really loved Suzune. In response, Ayanokouji mentioned that Suzune was nothing more than a neighbor. Hearing this, Kikyu left abruptly. Later, Ayanokouji realized Kikyu had forgotten her phone, prompting him to follow her to return it. To his surprise, he witnessed a sudden change in Kikyu's demeanor on a bridge as she transformed into a seemingly monstrous character. When she noticed Ayanokouji, she nodded as if acknowledging his presence. Ayanokouji, feeling uneasy, claimed he hadn't seen anything. However, Kikyu, sensing his dishonesty, took control of the situation and threatened Ayanokouji. She warned him that if he disclosed anything about her behavior, she would accuse him of raping her, thereby destroying his reputation and career. The threat hung in the air, leaving Ayanokouji in a difficult and unsettling position. Ayanokouji made a promise to himself that he wouldn't disclose the unsettling incident with Kikyu to anyone. However, the next day, Kikyu returned with her usual cheerful demeanor and thanked Ayanokouji. In the class, the teacher for Class B announced the updated points for the students. While standing in the lunch queue with Suzune and Kikyu, Ayanokouji recalled the events of the previous night. Suddenly, Haruko, a girl from the division, approached Ayanokouji and Kikyu, asking if they had received their points update. Ayanokouji was surprised to learn that they hadn't. Later in the day, the students of D's section were informed that there was an issue with the points update, and they would receive more information in the future. Curious about the matter, Ayanokouji went to meet Haruko, as she had requested. Haruko explained that she had found a love letter in her locker and wanted to spare the other person's feelings. She requested Ayanokouji to pretend to be her boyfriend for 12 weeks so that the other guy would realize she wasn't interested. Ayanokouji, uninterested in the drama, declined the proposal and advised Haruko to confront the person directly about her lack of interest. Suddenly, Rohan interrupted, revealing that he was the one who had sent the love letter to Haruko's locker. Ayanokouji, giving them some space, moved away. After a while, he noticed Rohan leaving the scene crying and assumed it was due to Haruko's rejection. Shortly after, Haruko emerged with a smile, thanking Ayanokouji for his suggestion and expressing how good it felt. The next day in the classroom, the teacher addressed the previous day's incident, stating that Sudo had a fight with 3 students from Section B due to his anger, which could impact the class's ranking system. Sudo argued that he was acting in self-defense, but the students and teacher misunderstood, attributing the altercation to his anger issues. Later, Suzune sought Ayanokouji's opinion on whether it was right or wrong to speak up against Sudo, presenting an opportunity to remove him from the class. Ayanokouji tried to convince Suzune that it wouldn't be beneficial for the class to speak against Sudo, especially considering the potential impact on their ranking. Another person emphasized that raising the class ranking required collective effort. In a surprising turn, everyone agreed to team up and assist Sudo in proving his innocence. Ayanokouji extended his support, but when Suzune was asked for her opinion, she left without providing an answer. Outside, Kikyu approached Ayanokouji along with 2 other students, discussing plans to help Sudo. Unexpectedly, Haruko expressed her desire to be part of the plan. Later, the group began their efforts to find leads that could prove Sudo's innocence. Despite initial struggles, they received a hint through an anonymous message sent to Kikyu. The sender wanted to reward them but couldn't do so with currency due to not knowing them. Ayanokouji noticed a significant detail during this time. Kikyu had 2.6 million currency points instead of the expected 100,000. After the event, all 4 of them gathered in Ayanokouji's room to discuss the suspect. Suzune revealed that she discovered the girl, Hanami, to be the one who sent the anonymous message. Hanami was the only witness to the fight between Sudo and the 3 students that night. Kikyu decided to call Hanami to confirm this information. However, Hanami, sitting in a dark room, was engrossed in something on her laptop and refused to pick up the call. Suzune suggested that Hanami's testimony might not be crucial for the case, but Kikyu insisted on discussing the matter further. Initially focused on the case, their conversation took an unexpected turn when Kikyu asked Ayanokouji if he knew everything about Suzune. Ayanokouji responded that knowing everything about someone is impossible. Before Kikyu could proceed with her next question, she stopped abruptly and left. The next day, Kikyu met with Hanami to discuss the case, but Hanami seemed reluctant to provide answers. She was about to leave, apologizing for not being able to help and expressing her reluctance to get involved in the drama. Ayanokouji, witnessing Hanami's reluctance to share information with Kikyu and wondering about the reason behind it, found himself intrigued. The following day, Ayanokouji and Kikyu coincidentally encountered Hanami at a shopping mall, where she was getting her broken camera repaired. The repair guy mentioned that the camera was still under warranty, but his creepy and unsettling behavior made Hanami uneasy. He requested her phone number to contact her when the repairs were done. Observing Hanami's discomfort, Ayanokouji intervened and provided his own phone number on her behalf, asking the repair guy to contact him instead. This gesture made Hanami feel more at ease, and she later thanked Ayanokouji for his assistance in handling the awkward situation. Facing a dilemma, Hanami genuinely sought Ayanokouji's advice on whether she should testify for Sudo, stating that she had indeed witnessed the incident. However, she was hesitant due to fear and not wanting to be involved in the drama. Ayanokouji advised her not to succumb to pressure and to make the decision on her own terms. Later, Kikyu and Naveen approached Ayanokouji, slowly revealing that they had discovered something about Honami. Kikyu arranged to meet Ayanokouji late at night in his room. When Kikyu showed Ayanokouji pictures of Hanami and disclosed her true nature, it confirmed Ayanokouji's suspicion that Hanami was a webcam girl. Understanding her reluctance to be in the spotlight, Ayanokouji realized that testifying in the case would draw unwanted attention to Hanami. However, the next day, a message arrived on Kikyu's phone stating that Hanami had decided to testify for Sudo. Suzune, seemingly out of the blue, confronted Ayanokouji, expressing concern that he was giving too much attention to Kikyu and neglecting her. Ayanokouji didn't provide a direct response, choosing to focus on discussing the Sudo case. At noon, students from classes 1D and C have to go to the student council room for a trial. The president is the judge, and Ayanokouji, Kashida, Susan, and Sudo are there. Class C has its representatives and lawyers. Sudo admits he started the fight. When it's Susan's turn to speak, she's distracted because her brother is in the same room. Ayanokouji brings her back and encourages her to speak for Sudo and the class. She questions the students, asking tough questions. The guys deny everything. Suzune asks Sakura, a witness, to share what she saw in the gym that day. Sakura tells the board everything, but the classy lawyer dismisses it as hearsay. Sakura reveals she has proof on a flash drive and shows it. The president takes the drive and they find pictures, including some incriminating ones. They keep scrolling until they find a picture showing the boys threatening Sudo. The lawyer steps down from punishment and suggests a suspension for both students. He asks for Susan's opinion, and she insists on nothing less than the truth. She then directs her attention towards her sibling, inquiring about his opinion. The president eventually breaks the silence and announces the adjournment of the meeting until 4 p.m. the following day. Following the meeting, Sakura expresses regret for her perceived inadequacy, and Ayanokouji encourages her to take pride in her assistance. At that moment, the president steps outside for a conversation with Ayanokouji and Sakura. He questions their ability to genuinely prove the innocence of the boys. Ayanokouji assures him that he can and will provide the evidence. Sakura shares some aspects of her life, describing herself as a lonely and despondent young girl accustomed to being the society's melancholic student. She never anticipated her clandestine job would have repercussions until a night at school when a fan sent her a compromising text, and the next morning she discovered photos of herself in the locker room. Meanwhile, Ayanokouji and Susan discuss their next course of action, contemplating the absence of security cameras in the gym and devising a clever plan to address the situation later. Meanwhile, Ayanokouji locates Sakura alone in class and expresses gratitude. For helping them clear Sudo's name, Ayanokouji promises to keep Sakura safe. Sakura expresses her gratitude, then shares some additional information. However, Ayanokouji receives a text from Sakura, informing him that she has already sent the email. Ayanokouji has to leave and head to the basketball court. Sir Susan had sent a letter from Kushi's phone to the Class C boys, ensuring they couldn't ignore it. Upon arriving at the court, they find Ayanokouji there. When one of the boys attempts to leave, Susan blocks them and instructs them to listen to Ayanokouji. Just as they're about to leave, she reveals the security cameras they installed moments earlier. Since the boys didn't know when they were set up, they believed the entire fight was captured on tape. They start to fidget, and Ayanokouji calms them down. He speaks in a way that makes them more anxious, leaving the boys confused about what to do. If they continue lying and the school finds out, they'd be in trouble. They'd definitely get kicked out if the school found out they were lying. Ayanokouji and Susan suggest the only way around this is to drop their complaints and pretend the incident never happened. One guy tries to call Rand, but Susan stops him, saying they can't do that. Eventually, they give in and withdraw the complaint. Ayanokouji, harboring a mysterious skill or aspect setting him apart, chance meets the student council president one evening. Impressed by Ayanokouji's role in a recent incident, the president extends an offer for him to become the secretary, a proposal he politely declines to avoid unwanted attention. Simultaneously, Ryan takes swift action against the boys who withdrew their complaint, demanding the identity of the threat. As names are revealed, Ryan strides forward in the rain, meeting with class's students, vowing to thwart their plans. In another corner, Ayanokouji encounters Susan, who accuses him of manipulating the situation to procure false evidence, leading to the withdrawal of the Class C boys' complaint. Ayanokouji, with a stoic demeanor, walks away. However, Susan stops him, questioning his true identity. Ayanokouji, reflecting on his challenging past, locks eyes with Susan, cautioning her against delving into his life. She's left taken aback. Fast forward a few weeks, students conclude their final exams, diving into summer vacation. Susan wakes up, prepares for her day, recalling a recent meeting where classmates gathered to discuss a crucial mission to combat isolation. In the present, Susan packs her swimsuit, heading to the pool. En route, she encounters the new couple, Harada, the class rep, and his girlfriend, Ki, inviting her to join them more often. Susan declines, heading to the bus stop where she finds Kashiga in high spirits. Susan wonders why Kashiga engages with her despite her aloof attitude. Soon, their three friends, Sudo, Ike, and Yamanchi, join them at the bus stop, and together they head to the pool. Upon reaching the pool, the girls convene in the changing rooms for a quick change into their swimsuits. Conversations spark about Ayanokouji growing closer to the girls, with Kushida attempting to tease Suzu and feeling jealous, but her attempts fall flat. Elsewhere, a student reminds a companion via radio to carry out their operation, a surreptitious peek into the girls' changing room before everyone heads home.